Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I am one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me, as always, is it's time to upcharge everybody $3 every month because we added Call of Duty to our service. Josh Finney.
I'm not even mad about the upcharge. I'm mad about the messaging.
Oh, I know, man. The messaging's so bad, but that's not, dude. Shocker. Xbox's messaging isn't clear.
Oh my god, shocker. Aaron Greenberg should not be in charge of fucking anything.
Oh my gosh, dude. There are two people. Look, I love Xbox just as much as you do, Josh. I really do. But there are two people at that company I am shocked still have executive positions there. One is Aaron Greenberg and the other is Matt Booty.
Yeah.
Shocked.
Yeah. I mean, so oh god, no, I'm gonna say it for the next Xbox Casuals because it's gonna be a spicy show.
Spicy.
It's gonna be spicy. Like every other show, it has to be a spicy show because some catastrophe has happened.
There's always a catastrophe in the world of the green circle.
I mean, they're literally their mistakes are making up for covering up Sony stepping on the multiple rakes they've set out. So,
did you see the Insider Gaming was reporting that they're considering stopping selling units in Japan and Europe?
I did see that, and I was like, well, Japan makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
I get Africa. Europe is, if you seed Europe, it's kind of like, well, you're acknowledging you're basically just an American company at that point.
Yeah.
And but I did appreciate that and we'll talk about this more on Monday's show, but I did appreciate that they said they were going to double down, supposedly like internal conversations are they're going to double down on PC gaming, which PC and cloud, which you and I have said for a long time was going to be the route they were going to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame that this is happening right as they're on the cusp of finally having these first party titles we've waited so long for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Chris Dierig over at GamesIndustry.biz was saying the other day. He was like, I can't believe this is actually like happening. Like they finally have games, but he's like, it's because those games took so long to come out. And also the purchase of Activision Blizzard that like Satya Nadella is like, no, we're getting returns now. Like, we're getting returns now. We're cutting corners wherever we possibly can. And he's basically was like, if this is the price that has to be paid to not close any studios, then fine. So be it. Like, the people who still want a console are going to get it. They're going to bring more games to PlayStation. They're going to, really, really push PC. Like, PC gaming has skyrocketed since the pandemic.
Yeah.
To the point where I would say PC gaming is damn close to being like the number one platform at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, I know the Steam Deck
building a PC has never been more like this is obviously not Destiny talk. Building a PC has never been more accessible either.
Yeah, plus like the Steam Deck has made it more accessible to people who like consoles, right? I mean, I know it hasn't sold like 30 million units or anything, but it's still like
it's you're trying to train a console audience to be okay with the idea of taking all your games on the go. Like we kind of wondered if the Switch was going to do it. And like, I will admit, like if the Switch didn't have the one Nintendo name and two have Breath of the Wild behind it, the Switch probably would have taken a lot longer to catch on. Let's be totally honest.
Yeah. No, I
mean,
Breath of the Wild did a lot of heavy lifting. Let's be honest here.
Breath of the Wild outsold the console for like the first 6 months, which was wild. But I mean, Nintendo even underproduced because they didn't know what to expect. The Wii U was such a catastrophe. And, now it's like, okay, well, you're kind of trying to get gamers to understand that, hey, we've hit a plateau in terms of what you can generate on screen graphically. And I think that, if Xbox can like pivot away from that messaging and like kind of embrace the, hey, if you could cram the power of the Series S into a handheld, that would be awesome.
That's the dream.
That's the dream right there. And I do think that's what they're aiming for, but that's like 18 months off.
Yeah.
And they can't wait 18 months. They got to kind of start pivoting now. But if you pivot your infrastructure into, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to kind of go more third party, but really lean into PC and, like mobile, then I think you have a shot. Like, it does suck from a console perspective, though, because if it comes down to your only option to play like high-end console games in those regions is going to be PS5, what's to stop from price gouging?
Right.
That's kind of been the argument all along of like, even if you don't like Xbox, like you kind of need them to endure because otherwise you've got that running rampant because Nintendo is just kind of off in their own world, and that's not a bad thing. The Switch is the best selling console since the PS2, but it'll probably overtake the PS2, frankly. But it exists in its own world. If you're playing third party games, you're not picking up a Switch to play those. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody buys a Switch to say, I'm gonna go play Control tonight. You play Control because you're already playing all these other games and you have absolutely fucking nowhere else to play this game.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Josh. As the host of a Nintendo podcast, I played the cloud version of Control on the Nintendo Switch.
And I'll admit it worked rather well.
Until it didn't.
Until it didn't. And that's just like a Remedy special feature at this point. But it's just like you can't rely on that. Like, Nintendo's internal technology is like 3 generations behind everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to internet. I mean, God, did anybody remember the Discord chart? And so it's not like to bash all this and that, but it does raise, I think it raises some interesting questions on the Destiny front of, if you stop selling that console, you stop selling Xbox in those regions, like, what kind of becomes the strategy for these always online games? Like, are people going to be forced to eventually move to PlayStation or to PC then to play this game? And I mean, let's be honest, like, PC is where a gigantic chunk of the Destiny base is at this point.
Right.
People who didn't make the jump right when Forsaken came out have been making the jump steadily since.
Yeah.
And I would say there was probably a skyrocket when Beyond Light came out.
Yeah.
With these new consoles, people are like, oh, I don't want to wait to try and get one of these consoles. I'm just going to jump to PC, this and that. And I think that's kind of where, like, Sony is, like, grasping at straws here, funny enough, because, like, Microsoft embraced the PC jump like 7 years ago, and people ridiculed it for, like, why would you do that? Like, well, now those same people are like, come on, Sony, where's your day one games, man?
Yeah.
You guys can make so much money. But I think they know if they do that, their console is going to, it won't be as rapid, but it will eventually go the same way of Xbox.
Right.
Like, and the future really is these different stores.
Yeah. And they already kind of put it out there that they're not going to do day one games because they tried to put first party games on it soon after. I mean, Horizon, right, was like their test, and they lost something like $150 million or something by putting it there, and it wasn't even day one.
Yeah, there's some really weird things that they've done in terms of their PC strategy. I mean, then you have things like Ghost of Tsushima, where it's taken them 5 years to bring it over, 4 years to bring it over, and it was the best-selling game of May across all platforms. So, like, clearly, like, PC gamers want these games. Like, they want these games, and I think Sony's trying to now balance that. Like, they're trying to be like, okay, well, you can have the multiplayer games on day one, you can't have anything else. Like, nobody is getting excited for Concord day one on PC. I'm sorry. Like, I think they're hoping and praying it's another Helldivers, but I don't know anybody who wants an Overwatch shooter in 2024.
Yeah, and the thing is, though, is like I heard the issue isn't the gameplay, because I heard the gameplay is actually pretty decent. I mean, it's Halo and ex-Bungie people working on it, right? So, I mean, I'm sure the shooting.
It's the first game from this studio.
Yeah, but it's also like, do we need another game as a service? Like,
right,
like you said, what? I mean, yeah, Overwatch, but like, Overwatch is losing popularity, and there's no other real hero shooter. What's the
also?
Other
It should be noted you have to pay for this game. This is not a free to play game. This is it's a $40 entry fee, which the only smart thing I've seen them do around this, and I promise we're going to get to Destiny in just a second. The only smart thing I've seen them do is decide that this weekend's beta is going to be open to all PS Plus subscribers and not just pre-orders.
Mm-hmm.
That is the quickest way to kill interest in your game, is to have the beta tests for a game that is 6 weeks out only be for people who have pre-ordered your game. Nobody pre-orders in this day and age unless you're getting in-game shit for a current game, aka you're ordering an expansion, like you're ordering Dawn Trail or you're ordering the Final Shape or something like that.
Yeah.
Nobody is pre-ordering games these days. You're doing it if it's a collector's edition or if there's like a bonus with like, oh, you want the Steelbook case or something.
Yeah. Or it's like a franchise that you absolutely love, right? Like, I mean, I would say like,
no one's going out to order Concord though versus like Spider-Man 2.
Right.
It's just so much foolishness is going on. I can't do it. I can't do it. There's a lot of foolishness
with Xbox. Like, you don't even have to you don't even have to pre-order to preload either. Like, you can just download it from the app and then buy it when you get home or whatever, right? Or
I
whenever
do
you
think
feel
that's
like.
one of the cooler like unsung features, but they have a lot of those.
Yeah.
Um, Corey, it's been a while since you and I were here together to talk about Destiny.
I know. I feel like it's been forever since we've done this
It
together.
so yeah, you had the week off, and then so Johnny and I recorded, but I did one with Joe before that, so it feels longer than it has been
Yeah.
because I didn't post that one until like a week late.
Yeah.
And then last week I took it off. I was sick before all that too.
Yeah. I mean, before
I
you've been sick. I would probably reckon you're still sort of sick at some point.
I am still sort of sick, but I have, my voice mainly back. I'm not coughing up a lung nearly as much. A little update for everyone. I had bronchitis. I had acute bronchitis, and they actually kind of thought that it morphed into a bit of walking pneumonia. I got very, very sick. It was a wicked bug that was going around in the Dallas Fort Worth area, to the point where my partner who works at a hospital thought that it may be a new strain of COVID because I had some COVID symptoms too. And I got it once several years ago. Um, I got it about a year after it started going around. But man, I have not been knocked on my ass like that since then, until now. I've been out of commission for a few weeks now, basically just kind of like living on the couch and in bed. But I feel a lot better. I'm not dying. No coughing fits. Just I occasionally have them when I wake up in the morning. It's nice. It's nice to be a functioning member of society again.
Well, glad you're back, Josh.
I got better just in time to go spend money at Barnes and Noble's twice a year Criterion Collection sale, so I'm very excited.
Ooh, what
Yeah,
what
I'm
are
gonna
you
go
what
buy
are
a
you
whole
going to
bunch of
get?
fancy Blu-rays.
What are you going to get?
I'm buying Wall-E for sure.
Ooh,
Wall-E is the first Disney movie ever put out in the Criterion Collection. I'm
what a,
getting that.
what a strange choice. I mean, I like Wally a lot, but like
Well,
that's
I so the Criterion Collection is like movies that are important to like the history of cinema. Like it's a
right.
specifically curated collection. I'm getting that. I have Risky Business ordered. I love early Tom Cruise. I am going to pick up some Akira Kurosawa movies. Specifically, Seven Samurai is one of my favorite movies. I'm going to finally get that. Night
Nice.
of the Living Dead is part of the collection. Excited to get that one. And I might treat myself to the original Godzilla collection. It's the
Ooh,
original like 19 or 20 Godzilla movies, all from 50s and 60s in one
ooh,
collection, all in 4K. So yeah, I'm gonna buy myself some. Might pick up Parasite. That's one of the more recent movies that's in it.
nice.
But yeah, a lot of movies that I want on my shelf. Of course, I do. I own Wally, but I really want this nice fancy version with all the documentaries and the commentaries and the making of and everything. So very
It'll be a good
excited.
one. It'll be a
Very
good
excited.
one.
Yeah, I mean, Wally's one of my favorite movies ever made. So
It's a great one.
it's a great one. It's Pixar's masterpiece, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
very excited.
Well, Josh,
Well, Corey,
should we finally talk about Destiny
I think we
14
finally
minutes into
should.
the show?
We should talk 13 minutes into the show about Destiny. Man, it has been a busy couple of weeks. I know Corey did a solo show last week.
I did. I wasn't like we talked about not doing one, but then
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt bad not having one. But then I also felt bad that you were sick, so I was like, I'm just gonna put something small out.
It was Freedom Days. It was Freedom Day. I was okay with it.
America.
Yeah, I was eating some barbecue. But we do, as a result, we do have we're kind of backed up. When John and I did our last episode, I forgot to read questions that week.
Ooh,
Um, so I do have some questions from that we're going to get to. Some of which have been answered by this week's live stream. Some of which have been covered in subsequent episodes. Um, Last week's TWAB, thank God, we missed nothing.
yeah.
We missed absolutely nothing from last week's TWAB. I had a gigantic sigh of relief. The only thing I will note is with the Bungie Day fundraisers going on with donation incentives and whatnot, um, we do have some really cool things here. Um, the community design from last year is back up for $21. For every $7 you donate, you get to pick a returning Bungie Day emblem. And then $28, I actually really love this bundle. I will be donating $28. You can get the Disciples exotic ghost shell, which
Ooh.
this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
I
Looks
love that
cool.
it has Rolk, and I don't know who that is on the left. I can't make out the image without squinting too hard. But there's also the Lubraean luxury shader as a part of this. And y'all know I love my fashion game. That shell is so extra though that you'll never be able to miss me in the fourth encounter of Salvation's Edge. You'll never be able to miss me there. You'll never be able to miss my ghost. And then in game for 700 silver is the unconditional love ornament for the conditional finality exotic shoddy. This was data mined before the season began. Obviously, I think this is a cool ornament. I'll be picking this up as well. Um, I like things like this as Bungie Foundation and Bungie Day incentives. This is stuff I can get behind rather than just give us money. Um, of note to Corey, there's a Bungie Day sale going on in the Bungie store.
I know.
Are you getting that Crota plushie?
I am not, but I did end up getting. I ordered. So
Did you get the Titan ring?
no, but the Saint 14 helmet was on sale.
Man, I need to
So
go
I
through
got it.
and look at what's on sale because I have a feeling I'm going to buy some things I've been waiting on.
Yeah.
I did order my raid jacket this week.
Ooh, look at you.
I ordered my Salvation's Edge jacket. Still debating if I'm going to order the messenger bag or not. I'm waiting for the Grimoire anthology to go up on Amazon because I
Yeah.
just prefer to order. I save $10 and I get free shipping.
Right. I'm waiting for that too. The
Yeah,
seventh
I'll,
one, right?
I'll wait like the extra month for it to come in. I don't care. I might end up picking up this. I love my pins, Corey.
Oh yeah, we know you love your pins.
I'm a big pin guy. I'm a big Destiny pin and Disney pin guy. So I want to get this Bungie Day set. That's a pretty sweet looking set. Thankfully, there was like nothing else that I was like, yeah, I gotta go get this. I feel good right now. Of course, I'm saying that like no. Now that you mentioned that the helmet is on sale, I'm like, God damn it!
It
This
was
is
on sale on Amazon.
oh, it's on Amazon. Oh God, that's
It
even
was
worse.
$26.
That's even worse. I am gonna get the Beholder shell
Yeah.
soon though because my D&D loving heart needs it.
Yeah. Can't resist the D&D for Josh.
I cannot resist the D&D, my friend. I absolutely cannot. I need them to put the Savathun statue down like another $50.
I know. I'm
If it
waiting for
gets
that
to
too.
100, I'm buying it.
Although, man, so I'm already waiting for the Crow one to come out, right? And I know
Yeah,
you can pre-order it, but I'll get it on
Amazon.
Amazon. But they announced the Morrow one.
Oh God, it looks so good.
Ugh. So now I was like, okay, well, I like got rid of some stuff, and I've been saving some money just because I like to get stuff, and I was like, okay, so I'm gonna get Crow and I'm gonna get Savathun and I'm gonna have the whole set, and then Numbskull on Twitter is like, oh, coming soon, and then it's like the silhouette of Mara. I'm like, come on,
Come on.
come on, I just did this.
Yeah, I thankfully there's not a lot that I'm about to buy. I need my Grimoire books. I'm very
Yeah,
excited. I do have the Volume 3 art book ordered.
yeah, I do too.
Very excited for that one. Hopefully, it's going to go down in price on Amazon.
It usually
Um,
does, right? I mean, it will.
Listen, nothing can be as egregious as the exotic collection books.
I know.
Those are so awkward. That is so awkwardly shaped that I have nowhere to put it on my shelf.
I know. I almost like don't even want it because
Yeah,
of how
it's
it's
like
shaped.
I mean, it was telling that like almost instantly it was reduced to like $10 on the Bungie store.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I think I got it for 15 on Amazon because of a price error.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not too mad about this, but this is so awkward to have.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
God bless America.
it's not great.
It is not. It's not great, but speaking of things that are great though, Corey,
What's great, Josh?
This live stream that they did on Tuesday.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I watched it.
It was great. I came away very happy. I feel like, Bungie's really been on a roll lately, and I have some notes that I took down from that. Of course, they cover it pretty extensively in the Schwab this week. Also, um, so, I mean, let's just go. I mean, that's the big story this week. I think
Yeah.
is the content from the live stream. I'm very excited. I want to start with these two new weapons. I'm very excited about a Baron Action, which is the solar rocket sidearm,
Yeah, that looks awesome.
which you can get heel clip on, which really excites me.
Oh my god!
You get heel clip incandescent on this thing. It's going to be absolutely filthy. Since this is a thing, actually, I don't feel too bad about pulling up the fact that it is now in it's been in dim this whole time. I don't feel bad about pulling up the potential rolls you can get on it at this point. But yeah, in that first column, you can get heel clip, ambitious assassin, threat detector, beacon rounds. Beacon rounds very exciting for these sidearms. I really liked it on Indebted Kindness. Field prep, pugilist, and strategist. I also really like strategist. Old favorite, you can get flared magwell and high explosive ordnance in that second column as well. The final column, you can get snapshot sights, harmony, golden tricorn, demolitionist, swashbuckler, reverberation, which I have actually really been enjoying on some of the newer weapons. I'm excited to see it on something that's not a rocket launcher, and of course incandescent. God, this thing's going to be absolutely filthy. I can't wait. It's disgusting in all the best ways. Rocket sidearms, man. I know the nerf is coming, but I'm really enjoying them right now.
Yeah.
Indebted Kindness was probably the best weapon to come out of Wish up until we got all the returning weapons into the light. But the Call, I think, has far and away been the best destination weapon that we've gotten in quite a few years.
Yeah, the thing's pretty nasty in PvP.
That thing's nasty regardless. There's a reason why almost every team that was clearing on day one of Salation's Edge was running the Call.
Yeah.
That thing is just an absolute monstrosity. I love it. And of course, you can make it even better with certain artifact mods.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for another one of these sidearms. Glad they're not making us wait too long to get some of these in. Indebted Kindness had its time in the sun. It might still be the better of the two, funny enough. But this, with all the solar mods on the artifact this season, and with how dominant Solar Hunter has been, this is going to be really, really cool to see in action. And then Corasian is the new 2-burst heavy pulse rifle. I am loving the 2-bursts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had a chance to get one yet. I believe the only two in the game that are currently heavy burst, other than one of the alternate firing modes for Revision 0, are uh, the pulse from the raid. I think it's Nullify, I think, is the pulse. I kept wanting to call it Duality, and I had to stop myself like 6 times there. And the new pulse from Trials, I believe, are the two bursts that are out currently. Really excited to see this, though. This is a new archetype that I am super excited about. As my pulse loving heart gently weeps. The perks you can get on this in that third column, you're gonna get air trigger. Perfect float, pugilist, eddy current. Do not sleep on eddy current. I actually really like it with these prismatic builds. Enlightened action, perpetual motion, and high impact. And then that second column is going to give you high ground, Eye of the Storm, Frenzy, Swashbuckler, Volt Shot, One for All, Focused Fury. Frenzy and Volt Shot are going to be pretty good options. I think One for All has been slept on for far too long. I really like One for All on pulses personally. And then Focused Fury, with it being a heavy burst, that one could be a really cool option as well. going to be some fun options there. Of course, flared magwell, one of my favorite perks for longer range weapons, is one of the ones you can get. You can get that or accurized rounds over in the second column. So yeah, this is going to be cool. Man, I can't wait. I am
Yeah,
perpetual motion volt shot or perpetual motion frenzy is probably what I'm going for here. Um, very, very, very excited. And those are roles that I feel like maybe not volt shot necessarily, but perpetual focused fury, perpetual frenzy can be really spicy in both PvE and PvP, in my opinion. So I definitely look forward to seeing how that one's gonna play out. And then an old favorite returns, Corey. We've been getting some of these Season of the Dawn weapons back, and no Season of the Dawn arsenal would be complete without the perfect paradox coming back.
it's true. That is true. I can't wait.
Random rolled perfect paradox, mind you.
Yeah. Look, as a big fan of Saint, and I really like this weapon. I'm happy to have it back. I can't wait to see what kind of rolls I can get on it, though.
Well, lucky for you, I have those for you right here.
Ooh, look at Josh. He's all ready.
You can get in that third column. You can get threat detector, slide shot, field prep, dual loader, pugilist, and threat remover. And then in that fourth column, you can get trench barrel, swashbuckler, opening shot, vorpal, 1-2 punch, and barrel constrictor. Um, God, there's going to be some really interesting roles that you can get with this. Um, I mean, I think instantly everybody immediately goes to trench barrel or 1-2 punch. Um, I like the idea. I mean, slide shot, opening shot, always, or slide shot, opening shot, always a PvP favorite. Um, trench barrel though, man, if you're running if you're running one of those crazy melee builds for hunters or titans right now, that might be the thing for you.
Yeah.
Get that and maybe dual loader going.
Yeah.
Field prep, always a good option. With the increased ammo reserves. Pugilist, of course, pugilist, great option. Um, there's gonna be some fun ones here. I don't know if I'm gonna be too into it. But I do think Perfect Paradox is going to be really good for some of those wilder builds and for PvP builds. I think that's where it's really going to shine at.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And of course, Saint 14 signature gun. Glad we're getting it back here. Makes sense since the story is like kind of shifting into a Saint 14 beat. As of the events of week 3, which God, they've split this up so badly.
Yeah.
I think that those three being the weapons that are coming back, and then of course that means we're getting at least one more reprised weapon and two more new craftable seasonal weapons that are going to drop in the final act. I kind of like how they've split this up though, because you have 6 weapons to chase right now that are craftable, along with the 3 reprised, and then you get another reprised and 2 craftable in each of the next 2 drops. Um, that brings you up to a total of 10 craftable weapons on the season, and I think that's really good for an 18-week episode. That's a pretty good deal, I would say.
Yeah. That's
And
pretty
the
good.
drops are very generous, I feel, right now.
Yeah.
If you have not been doing I'm going to try and get the names correct because I always want to flip flop the names. The breach executable is the arena activity. You can do it on normal or you can do it on expert. If you have a decent build and you're of the proper level, I cannot stress this enough. There, you need to be the proper level, or you need to load into with somebody who is the proper level, so you get that fire team level boost. I urge you to go do the expert version. If you do the activities and the timers that it gives you, you will get 3 chests at the end and be able to dunk your radiolite. You come away with, like, I kid you not, like 10 pieces of gear every single time, and it's like a 15-minute activity. It is totally worth doing. John and I were doing it a couple weeks ago. They've cut back on the goodness of some of the drops. I feel we were drowning in red borders in that activity. Red borders, exotics, high statted armor. It was all flooding us. In addition to like world drops we were getting. So Very, very good. You will reset failsafe so fast. I think I've reset her 3 times without even thinking about it this season already. Just like fucking around on Nessus. So, and then the other one that you can do, which is the, oh my god, I forget its name. I constantly forget its name. Enigma Protocol. Enigma Protocol. When you run that and you open up a chest at the end of a run of that, the weapons that drop are the reprised seasonal weapons, but they drop with double perks. So that is the place to go farm those out, in my opinion.
Cool.
Yeah.
Farm them out.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to get decent rolls on both Breachlight and Patron. So my attention's kind of shifting towards Line in the Sand and Perfect Paradox. Like, excuse me, with not having a whole lot of reason to go in there and do it now until we have the full like scope of what you need to do in there and the full weapons suite. It's kind of like it's like a moot point for me to go in there and try and get double perk weapons right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think doing double perk weapons definitely a way to motivate people to get in there. There are 2 different variants of it as well. There's a Vex one and then there's a Taken one, which I found the Taken one to be significantly more difficult. I don't know if that's just like I was just not feeling good that day or what, but it felt like that was significantly more challenging than just the regular old X one. Which I appreciate. I like the challenge. It is a timed activity, which kind of puts some stress on everybody, I think. But still really digging that. I think they've for all the things I've griped about with the season, I actually think that like the loot has been super generous so far.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm really stressed to craft the weapons. I have 3 that are fully crafted already, and I'm like 1 or 2 patterns away on the remaining 3 weapons. So, and none of those I'm in a big sprint to get. I think it's the hand cannon, the sword, and the rocket launcher. Like, okay, I'll get to them when I get to them. I have the upgrade at failsafe where I get to buy one every week, if nothing else. So, unlike these pale heart weapons, which the red borders there dried up real fast. God, I have so many patterns to finish up there. Yeah, you have anything on these weapons? Drop rates, any particular combos you're hunting for right now or wanting to craft?
Not in particular. I think the weapon drops have been incredibly generous though. I mean, even on decent rolls, maybe not god rolls, but decent rolls anyway, right? I mean, they've just been dropping for me like crazy. So,
yeah.
It's been awesome. And I mean, I've been playing a lot of Iron Banner this past couple weeks, but even playing the story stuff in the event, like the end game stuff is like, man, these drop rates are awesome. This is like, I don't know. I think we've complained about drop rates enough that this is kind of satisfies our complaints, at least, from last year. But yeah, I feel like I'm getting like a red border every couple of weapons. I feel like I'm getting, progress on it I just feel like I'm always getting something or progressing something or, getting a roll that I want. Or at least a halfway decent one.
Yeah. So. I would definitely urge everyone not to sleep on the auto rifle, the grenade launcher, or the scout. I'm not saying that because I have those 3 crafted. I very clearly went after those 3 first.
Yeah.
I think all 3 of them are fantastic. It's not that the other ones aren't. It's just like those 3 really stand out, and I think that scouts across the board are just kind of bad right now. But Patron is still a really solid choice, especially for. Let me tell you something, man. I got that triple tap kinetic tremors, locked it through it in the vault, and I'm waiting for them to give me some scout rifle mods where I need them for GMs. Give me anti-barrier scout, baby. I'm ready.
Give it to him.
I am absolutely give it to me. I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Kinetic tremors, man. It's a cheat code on those GMs these days.
The cheat code.
Well, kind of shifting away from the weapons. I didn't really intend to get into the weapons as much as we did, but the activity for this act of Echoes, much to my chagrin, is Battlegrounds. Um,
I saw that and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for Thursday for Josh to say something about Battlegrounds.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. No, I'm kidding. I think that the two activities they've given us are like good already.
Yeah.
And you're gonna give us these. I like how they're approaching the battlegrounds this season, though. That like all three of them make up one story.
Yeah.
It's continuing from where the previous ones leave off, which I think makes it a little difficult to go put them into the rotation. But I do like something like that as opposed to, I don't know, like, oh, here's three separate ones that we're gonna do. It's something different. I'll take anything different at this point. It's the terraformed Nessus, which is really exciting to me. Um, the first two are going to drop on July 16th, which is Tuesday at Reset, Delve and Conduit. And the final one, Core, will drop on July the 23rd. Uh, these look cool. It's kind of using that first one uses the same area that we just did the Saint 14 mission in,
Yeah.
which is exciting to me. I like reusing these areas. You spent all this time making this gorgeous new Nessus.
Yeah.
I want to see it more. I wouldn't even mind seeing the planet terraform, but I don't know how much that would fuck with like old quests or like potentially unvaulted content in the future.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's prudent to have old and new Nessus. I think that's really stupid.
Yeah. That
So
seems excessive.
it seems very excessive.
Nessus isn't that interesting that we need two versions of it.
They did say that when we're doing these, we are going to be returning to a storied location
Mm-hmm.
in Destiny, and I don't know what that is. Like, are we going back to the corridors of time? My guess is we're going back to corridors of time, or somehow we're going back to Mercury. Those would be my two guesses.
Great.
To go to the Infinite Forest. Yeah, I mean, oh boy, let me tell you something. Nothing gets me riled up like going to those two locations. I feel like something's got to happen though. They say we're
Maybe
going back to a storied location. Venus doesn't make sense to me. I don't know.
maybe the Infinite Forest is actually what we thought it was going to be the last time. Maybe they totally redid it.
Oh man, how cool would that be?
It would be awesome. That
I'm
would be
curious to see
so.
when we're going to get the other revised strike too. I assume new inverted spire is probably coming in part 3 now.
Yeah. That seems.
Just to keep like the content drops coming. That's when the exotic mission is supposed to drop too, supposedly. So kind of curious, like if you're going to drop a new series of activities every 6 weeks, like for all three episodes, I kind of like that cadence.
Yeah.
Like just as you're getting tired of something, there you go. But like if you keep it to where like that first activity is the best loot farm all season, I really like the idea of that.
Yeah.
Just so like, okay, just so you know, like you can burn yourself out now, or you can wait until everything's in there.
Mm-hmm.
I did like when they were talking about. I want to talk about some of the stuff that the senior activities designer. I didn't write his name down, and I feel really bad about it. What he was talking about. He noted he specifically works on the Vanguard seasonal team, so like he helps develop things like battlegrounds and new versions of the strikes, which I thought that was a very important distinction that they have different teams that make these activities too.
Yeah.
So I would assume you have like an arena team and then you have like a secret mission team and things like that. I thought that was a really cool distinction that he was making. But in Delve, you're fighting Fallen, and you're investigating where the radial area from the cistern has gone to. And all three combine together to tell a story leading to the center of Nessus. The Vex are starting to act less of a collective and more individualistic, which we've never really seen from the Vex before. I think that's really fascinating to think about. And the goal with these was to push the amount of combatants on screen so everybody is always able to slay out. I'm already watching these going, man, how are GMs going to be on this? This is going to be wild.
Yeah. It's gonna be something.
I think that's why I enjoy GMs or not GMs. That's why I enjoy battlegrounds. Like I complain about them, but I like them because like I can kind of just kick back on normal difficulty and be like, oh yeah, I don't really have to try on this. Like I'm gonna have to try on the legend ones, but I don't really have to try on this.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about using my super as much as I possibly can and spamming heavy ammo. I like things like that because it's just like, yeah, this is how it should be. Like you're going on a mission for the Vanguard. There should be heavy resistance. I love the idea. That's why I like Excision so much. is that like Excision and Onslaught really have nailed these themes, and I'm really excited to see them continue to do this in these types of activities. Even in Dual Destiny, like in some of those small rooms, they're just completely loaded up with enemies, and you're like, oh yeah, you're trying to slay out and do the puzzle at the same time. Like it can get a little hectic, but it's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see if this finally changes my mind on Battlegrounds overall. Now that there's not really there is a story being told through all three, but I'm not going to care after the first time I go through. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
You put these into a playlist, and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, this is part 2 of 3. I'm not going to care.
Right.
Teleporting wyverns. That scared me when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, I already hate these enemies, so why do we gotta add worse?
So teleporting wyverns in GM difficulty. I was not jazzed to think about that.
Yeah, this hurts my soul a little bit.
It hurts my soul, but I thought it was really funny. That was my takeaway. I was like, oh god damn it. But it looks cool. I like some of the concept art here. Of course, no new season would be complete without new artifact perks. I do like the idea of you have the artifact, and then they're going to add a row for Act 2, and then they're going to add a row for Act 3. A change I would like to see preemptively, and I don't think they're going to do it here, but I would like to see it in the future. If you're going to add for each row you add, we should get one more artifact slot. We should be able to go from 12 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
Because people will have established builds, and I understand part of this is to make us choose, but man, let me read off these artifact perks because this is wild. This is season of the Still Hunt. It's still going strong here. Column 1 is getting anti-barrier sniper rifle, which is a fan favorite returning. Column 2, authorized mods scavenger. Energy costs of scavenger mods are significantly reduced. Love that. Absolutely love that. Column 3, incendiary rifle rounds. Solar sniper rifle precision hits, scorch targets. So Still Hunt is already better than it already was. Column 4, solar fulmination. Your ignitions do increased damage and an increased radius. Column 5. I cannot believe that they put this in the game when Still Hunt is so irreparably, hopelessly broken. Sniper's Meditation. Sniper rifle hits grant stacking sniper rifle damage, stability, and reload bonuses for a short time. Heavy ammo sniper rifle hits count as more than one. So this isn't limited to just Still Hunt. This means that this applies to any sniper rifle in the game, as well as Whisper of the Worm. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I am shocked that they allowed these to all go into the game.
Right.
But it's funny that we say that because they do note that there is a whole paragraph down here about Still Hunt that we're going to get into in just a second. But thinking about all those is already wild. Somebody without these mods, okay, keep in mind these mod options are not in game yet. As of this afternoon, somebody has soloed the Witness in Salvation's Edge. And I'll let everybody guess what they ran. So that happened before these mods came in.
Jeez.
That is just absolutely wild to me. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I saw that and I just could not get over that. Some of the other things Chris Proctor brought up, one of the other things that he brought up that I was very excited about, reserves have been increased across the board, and their cost will be reduced by 1 point. That is really important to me, I think, in the scheme of build crafting, but also because they're taking away the ability to cheese it by changing your chest piece out. That is going to go away, but as compensation, they're increasing reserves across the board and reducing those mods by 1. So I think that's a pretty fair trade-off, personally.
Mm-hmm.
It was made people were getting like 24 rounds in the mag on Edge Transit by doing certain combinations. It's absolutely insane. Some of the balance changes that they're going to make that are coming in early August. So these are in early August, mind you, not with Tuesday's update. Abilities. Bringing Swarm Grenade and Threadling Spectre into line. because it is a nightmare to play against hunters in PvP right now. You can spam threaded specter and swarm grenades constantly. Smoke and swarm grenades. We all made fun of the swarm grenades when they got announced, and oh boy, let me tell you. Let me tell you how powerful they are, even without the smoke. They're basically a guaranteed one-hit kill. And an increasing Twilight Arsenal and Hammer of Soul damage versus bosses and mini bosses. I don't know who told y'all that Twilight Arsenal wasn't doing enough damage, but they fucking lied. Twilight Arsenal's already ridiculous. It did not need to be increased. I don't know if we're talking about the same Twilight Arsenal here. Because let me tell you something. I watched Johnny run it in GMs, and he basically took out a chunk of the boss's health all on his own, just using his super. So that was disgusting. Armor, we just talked about this. Corrected initiative allows swapping between regular armor mods and reserves mods to enable a higher ammo count than the current maximum. This was never intended functionality. And to offset this, reserve ammunition for all weapon types has been increased up to 15%. Weapons with low reserves for their weapons type getting a larger buff. Reduce cost of reserves mods by 1. And then weapon buffs. Increasing Tech's scout rifle damage by 30% in PvE. So a Tech's scout rifle. That is the cowboy rifles. That includes Dead Man's Tail.
I know.
This includes Dead Man's. I'm very excited. Dead Man's, Long Arm. Those are going to be included in this. Reducing flinch for sniper rifles by 50% versus combatants in PvE to try and get you to use sniper rifles more between that and the new artifact mods. I'm sure we'll be seeing some of those. Go get your fancy Uzums from Grandmasters this week.
Go get them.
Increased Ariana's Vow damage by 67% versus barrier shields.
I know, I saw that.
I can't tell you the last time I even thought about Ariana's Vow. And then removed stat penalties from adept mods. Here's the paragraph we wanted to get to regarding Still Hunt. Jesus Christ. One new update we want to mention is a change we're planning for Still Hunt. We'll be reducing Still Hunt's Golden Gun shot damage when paired with Celestial Nighthawk by 25%. Since launch, we've been monitoring the potency of this exotic and felt it needed a slight adjustment. Hunters have the opportunity for some thematic tie-ins between Celestial Nighthawk, Golden Gun, and Still Hunt. This should help to reduce a bit of damage disparity between each class and between what should be viable weapon alternatives. Whisper the Worm has a bit more opportunity to outshine this special exotic with upcoming artifact perks after these changes, and we'll be looking out for whatever fun boss melting clips you can come up with. I'm fine with this because it's still so absurdly powerful. But it had created a meta where you basically needed like 5 or 6 hunters to do optimal DPS. Especially in Salvation's Edge. I mean, there's a reason why I think only 2 Titans cleared it on contest mode. Almost everybody was a hunter, and it was purely for the damage. People were switching to hunter for the witness. I think that's fine. 25% isn't as bad as you may think it is. I do like that it still has that tie-in because I think it needs to. I think synergy with certain exotics is really cool. It's not something we needed with every exotic, but I think when it's something like that, when it's like it's so intrinsically tied to a hunter's identity, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
You are giving Golden Gun to like fucking everybody. I think we should get a little something if we're running Celestial Nighthawk, but you know,
yeah,
still getting a 75% damage buff is a big deal. I'm still fine with that. It's still going to be one of the best in the game, but you know, now, hey, if you're not like super good with, I'm going to nail my shots and then activate it and this and that, Whisper is a perfectly viable alternative now. So I probably will be running Whisper a little bit more. I'm more comfortable with that because if I'm hitting all those crit shots, it's auto reloading for me. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about activating the super, but you want to do the most optimal damage, you're probably still going to want to run Still Hunt with Celestial Nighthawk if you're a hunter. But Whisper, for everybody else, it's definitely an alternative. All right, Corey. We have Solstice coming up here in a few weeks.
Solstice.
We don't know. I don't know if we have the exact dates for it. I believe it's going to be probably after the first 3 weeks. Probably like around August 2nd is when it's going to start. But I don't think we've been given the exact dates for it just yet. I want to know what you think about this armor before I go in on what I think. Because I've heard some varying opinions.
It's not the best armor they've ever made. I don't know. I don't really like it, to be honest with you, but maybe with a different shader it might look interesting. Um, but overall, I don't think it's very cool looking, in my opinion.
I'm
Um,
gonna agree with you.
I think it's very. I don't even know how to explain it, Josh. It just looks very weird. I mean, what's with these Super Mario Brothers 93 movie boots on the Titan? First of
Okay,
all,
and so I'm not gonna lie. I think of all three sets, I actually think that the Titan set is probably the best. I actually really love that Titan helmet. I'm not gonna lie to you. I
yeah,
think that helmet is very cool. It's very oh god, I'm trying to think of what the Hunter exotic is. But it's very similar to a Hunter exotic helmet, which has me excited.
the one with like the red targeting system on the front of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I don't remember what it's called, and it's bothering me.
someone will correct us. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Because I don't even think I have it in my dim, unfortunately.
Mm.
I was looking for shits and giggles to see if I had it. I do not.
I The only thing I like about the Titan is the chest piece has like this very Nathan Drake looking like Uncharted 2 looking kind of flaps at the top of it. The
Knucklehead
collar.
Radar. That's the one I'm trying to think of.
Mm.
I like it. I think that I think the helmet looks cool. Johnny was trying to sell me on that this is a really cool set. Let me break this down. I think this would be a bet. These would be better sets if they had been the Guardian Games armor,
Mm.
because they feel like really sporty. They feel very Sparrow Racing League. If I can be totally blunt, they feel like they should be racing armor to me. It doesn't feel very Solstice. I know, like, we've kind of been conditioned to think of how armor should look for certain events, and we
Mm-hmm.
always think of like the gaudy, shiny, glowing armor for Solstice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like this for any. I don't like the overall armor for any of the classes, but that's
Yeah.
just me and my sour grapes. That Titan helmet is awesome. I'm gonna log in on my Titan just to get that helmet. I'm not even gonna lie.
I mean,
Just for the helmet. That's all I care about, is getting the helmet.
I do think the Warlock helmet looks like Darth Revan, and if you put
It
it,
really does. Now I wish I could put that helmet with my Hunter cloak,
yeah.
because then I
So,
could really be Revan. But I
but then if
can't
you
have
put a
nice
cool
things in
shader
this
on
world anymore, apparently.
it, I know you got some sort of broken scuba mask.
Which I already have several of. Jesus Christ.
Oh man, good times though.
Disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. Um all right. Other things coming soon. Havoc Hardware and Crucible Labs. I'm kind of down for this. This is being described as mayhem for hardware. It's a 6v6 mode. Special and heavy weapons will be shining because all abilities are disabled. Ammo crates respawn rapidly. Players drop more ammo. So we're expecting an all-out firefight in the Crucible. I am very interested to see how many galleys are flying around in this.
Probably a few. I'm going to say a few.
I'm gonna say galley and eager edge swords are gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna see.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very excited. I actually think this sounds like a really fun mode. Maybe this will be a bit of a palate cleanser for everyone upset about 2 weeks of Iron Banner, which I'm not gonna lie, I was fine with 2 weeks of Iron Banner. Then I played Tribute today, and I was like, oh, never mind, they can take this away.
Mm.
Now I suddenly agree with everyone who didn't want 2 weeks of this. I do that. I think Iron Banner is really strayed away from what it was, which was like a big party mode. And it was a way for people who didn't raid to get pinnacles in Destiny 1. Um, I think that combined with like the loot feeling like kind of lackluster is adding to it. Like Claws of the Wolf is great, but once I've gotten like 15 rolls of it, I don't need anymore.
Yeah.
Um, I do think that there needed to be more Iron Banners than like 3 for a 18-week season, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of coming around to the opinion of a lot of people that just because we have Iron Banner doesn't mean you should get rid of Trials.
Yeah.
I understand they don't want that population split, but people aren't playing PvP as it is.
Yeah. I
PvP is
think
already having number problems. Just give them what they want. I don't see any reason not to. Um, Maybe you give extra weapons or extra Crucible rep. I mean, extra Trials rep on the weeks that you have Iron Banner up or something. I don't know. There's got to be a solution here somewhere because both modes just feel bad right now. I saw so many people like, and I'm assuming it's people who are in higher skill brackets because let me tell you something. The skill based matchmaking is what really needs to go in Iron Banner.
yeah.
It feels good if you're bad at Iron Banner. If you are average or above, it feels bad.
Yeah.
I fall into that tier of average or better, and it feels bad. The
Yeah, it's
matchmaking
kind
has
of
gotten steadily worse and worse. When I solo queue, I can still have a decent amount of fun, but it also depends on who I'm playing with because, Destiny is set up in a way that if you have even one Steam player in your party,
mhm.
that's it. You're only playing against Steam players.
Yeah. And that
And
sucks.
that's really, or, you're playing against other like mixed parties, which very rarely happens.
Yeah.
Um, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable, but I think Crucible is completely and utterly unplayable on Steam. Um, so
Yeah, I mean, Crucible, I mean, we've talked about it forever. It's just not where it's just not. It's just not. I'm going to leave it at that.
yeah, it's fine. It is what it is. But Iron Banner needs to be taken back to the drawing board, I think, or it just needs to be control all the time. Um,
Yeah.
Tribute felt particularly bad today. And I played a few matches and just did not enjoy it at all. I also don't think people understand how to play Tribute. It's not like normal Supremacy where you just grab the crests. It is you have to grab them and then go dunk them. And that, I mean, I understand that the intention is to create a bunch of chaos, but that feels really bad because if you start spiraling and like, oh, you had like 3 people about the dunk and you lose 15 crests, that's a 15-point swing right there.
Hmm.
So that's really frustrating. I'd like it better if there weren't any dunking, but I understand why there's dunking. So, um, all my bitching and moaning aside, what else we got here? I don't even know what fucking Rec Room is, so I don't
It's
even want to talk about
it's
this.
the Meta VR thing.
I don't even want to talk about this. This
I
looks
think it's on
terrible.
PSVR too.
This looks terrible.
I
This
mean,
looks terrible. I'm not talking about this. This looks terrible.
it's just the VR mode, I guess, for the Rec Room, right? That's what this
I,
is.
I guess it looks bad. There is an official Destiny 2 Discord now,
Ooh.
which I'm pretty excited about. It is for updates only, by the way. There is no like free chat space in there. You cannot go in there and harass the shit out of anybody, which is really nice. But you can follow if you have a Discord server. You can follow you can follow the Destiny 2 team in there, and it'll automatically post Destiny 2 team updates. Basically, they're whatever they tweet out to your server. So we're going to look at getting that set up in ours. You can also do that with Bungie Help, the Bungie blog, and just Destiny in the Game updates, which will post the TWABs and anything they post on socials. So um, there's some interesting stuff going on there, I think. They have a community tab also that has links to the Destiny 2 LFG, to the Discord for the Destiny the Game Reddit, which is a cesspool, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Who's shocked?
who among us? Who among us is not shocked? There's 2 different Destiny 2 LFG servers for some reason, and Destiny 2 Italia. If you want to
Hmm.
go join the Italian community, which has 15,000 members, by the way.
Ooh.
I was not aware that Destiny was big in Italy. I was not aware of any of that. So that is there for anybody who is interested. Other than that, I don't think we have much of anything. I don't think we have much of anything else.
Hmm.
So, man, let's get to a million questions.
Questions?
God, we have so many questions. I'm gonna try to get through these in a somewhat timely manner. Um, but because I missed them a couple weeks ago, we're going back all the way to like mid-June for some of these.
Jeez.
But they were good ones, and unfortunately, some of these were ones I really wanted to have with Johnny here. One of them was specifically asked towards John, so I'm going to go into my DMs and get his answer for it. Tiger Jesus writes in from all the way back on June 25th. Do you think future healing auto rifles will always be solar to give restoration, or will we ever see void healing autos to give void over shields? It's going to be the second. They're absolutely going to do some void ones at some point, and they'll
Yeah.
probably do a stasis one too. I would actually be really surprised if we didn't get one for each element. They can come up with something for arc, I'm sure. Maybe you shoot a teammate and it gives them the sprint or something. I don't know,
Right.
but all the others have a shield type. Like you have healing for solar. You could give frost armor. You could give woven mail. You could give void over shields. I do think they have to be careful with that though, because there's already an exotic that grants woven mail. It's the Navigator exotic trace rifle. So I do think you got to be a little careful with that because I think that these we could get into a healing meta, and that's not good for a game that has PvP. If this is just PvE, I would have no problem with it. You have to keep PvP and Gambit in mind, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think that you run the risk of running too rampant, and suddenly we have a whole new problem where, okay, we may just never see weapons from these families ever again.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna dealer asked John to make a weapon. We're gonna actually save this for the very end. This is gonna be the last thing we answer because John sent me like 3 paragraphs, and I'm gonna need to gear up to read that. Jiggly Panda writes in, do you think the break in between acts is a good thing or a bad thing for episodes? Well, Panda, I hate to be the one to break this news to you. We're gonna find out because I think it's a good thing right now. I am not a proponent of getting everything day one, and we know that Revenant, the entire story is going to drop on day one. I better not hear one goddamn person complain about there's nothing to play in this game when that story drops in one day.
Right.
I better not hear a goddamn person complain that there's nothing to do week to week. I personally like tuning in for it. I do like they had breaks in between the acts though, because I think that gives you something to look forward to. Like if you had 3 weeks of a story and then there's 2 weeks, then you have like 2 or 3 weeks before the next act, you could take those weeks off if you wanted to. You could play something else. It makes it easier than ever to dip in and out with the game, especially with there being 3 GMs for each act also. I actually really like that personally. So I don't know. Corey, what do you think? You gave a lot of thoughts on Echoes and how it started out last week.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they should just. I think episodes the way it should work is they should just drop the at least the main kind of story line that they're doing all at once, and then if they want to trickle out like like a secret mission here, which I mean they're kind of already doing that, right? But like like the extra story missions that they kind of happen after the campaigns, or I kind of said that an episode, the perfect length of an episode, and granted I know a lot of work goes into this, but I think the perfect length for an episode would be Rise of Iron's length. But you don't have to make new spaces or anything for these things, right? You just use the spaces that are available. But like, 4 missions, maybe throw a strike in there, a reprise strike with a different storyline or something, right? And that's kind of where I'm at. I think that dropping it all at once is going to, I understand that they want to keep people engaged, but the way they're dropping things throughout the episode, I think dropping the story at the beginning is probably a good idea because you're
Really?
yeah.
Oh man, I think it's a huge mistake.
Man, I see.
Let me make my case real
Yeah,
fast.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's a huge mistake because I was so excited for the storytelling opportunities that breaking this up gives you in regards to things like dungeons and exotic missions.
Mm-hmm.
I really love that because you can tie those into the story, battlegrounds even. Like you can tie that stuff into the season so much better. Like, is it going to be the whole narrative that drops? Are we going to get all the activities at once? We know there's going to be a dungeon that comes. Is the dungeon going to get dropped that first week? Like, I kind of hate the spiraling will this, won't that of this decision. I understand they want to try something new. I just, man, I don't like it. I would like it better if they dropped the story for one act at the beginning of the act. I think dropping everything for an 18-week episode, week 1 is a massive mistake. That is how you lose players, in my personal opinion. Because then the people who blow through everything in like 2 weeks have nothing to do, and that's probably the base you want to keep engaged, because they're going to spend money, they're going to spend time and effort in it, like they're the ones making content, and they're going to be the ones complaining there's nothing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of feel
Also, like
like
selfishly, I have a fucking life outside of this game, and I don't want to kill myself in a 48-hour span to be able to do everything, so I don't get spoiled by some numbskull on Twitter or Reddit, or God forbid, I love our Discord, but like nobody in Discord spoils it for us. Like we
yeah,
have to reevaluate like entire spoiler policies for next episode at this point.
yeah,
So I don't know. I'm not a fan of it all dropping at once. And that's very much my like that is my old man hollering on the porch at the kids on his lawn. That's very much what I'm doing right now. I'm telling people to just like shut the fuck up and deal with it. But like I know I am part of the losing battle here. I really love the idea of getting something drip fed every week. But if you're going to do that, you have to have consequential story beats each week too. It
yeah.
can't just be, oh, go do a breach executable or something,
Hmm.
or go do like 5 patrols on Nessus. Like, no, it's got to be like actual story beats each week. And I don't care if that means that, oh, you're going to weave in battlegrounds. Like, I think that gives you the opportunity to drop battlegrounds at different intervals. Like, maybe those are your missions for one act. Cool. You get one each week. I would be okay with something like that. And like, oh, there's some dialogue like bookended in the helm or whatever. I'm not a fan, and it's mainly because I'm tired of the discourse around there's nothing to do in Destiny.
Yeah,
When I think that's been proven patently false. We have been drowning in content since the beginning of April now.
yeah. I mean, that's my point though, is like drop the whole story at once because there's so much to do already. There's just so much to do,
There,
you know?
there is, but as we get further into the year, I think that argument becomes less and less valid. If I can like just argue that for a moment, when this drops, it's going to be September, October-ish when Act Two drops. We're far enough removed from the final shape that everybody's done that content.
Yeah.
And then you're going into like, oh, you've got, the only reason I can argue for this being done for Act Two is because Act Two is going to encompass both Festival of the Lost and the Dawning. That is the only reason I can make the argument that I'm okay with it for that particular season. Is you're going to have two little seasonal events that are going to be 3 weeks each that are going to be in there. You're going to have some Iron Banners in there. Like you're going to have something going on almost weekly. That is the only time of year you can get away with that, I think. So if you're going to experiment and do it there, fine. I think that becomes a really hard argument for your third episode, though, when you're trying to build up to your next big narrative beat. Because by then, there is nothing to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, they're gonna find out, I guess, right? So
They're gonna find out, and like just because they do it doesn't mean they have to do it for all of them, right? Like I would actually be
right.
okay with a compromise where like, oh, you drip feed it to us in episodes 1 and 3, but you drop episode 2 all at once because we have those seasonal activities happening during it.
Yeah.
I would be okay with something like that because those are limited time events designed to get you playing.
Yeah.
Just make them better. You're gonna have that time, make them better. That would be my only thing.
Right.
Also, you have to. I think the other way I would be okay with this is if they came out and said, hey, you're going to get a dungeon and a raid during this. You're going to get the reprised raid right away, and you're going to get the dungeon as the finale of our story halfway through the season or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like come out and say, here's the reprised raid, and here's the new dungeon drops like the week before Thanksgiving or something. So you have
Right.
the holidays to enjoy it.
Right.
That would be a fair compromise, I think. But like I just want to, and I know we're still like 6 weeks out, 6 7 weeks out from even the next act dropping. We're 12 weeks out from Revenant, for God's sake. I
Jeez.
expect to get more clarity on this at the August September showcase whenever they do it, which almost certainly is going to be on the 10th anniversary of Destiny at this point.
Yeah.
I expect to get more clarity then, but that would be my pitch. If you're going to do that, have a plan for like, an exotic mission to drop a few weeks later, have a dungeon, maybe have the reprised raid, like have things to drop during that. And I think that makes the blow a little bit easier for all of us to stomach,
Yeah.
who are worried about the story dropping all at once. Oh, there's still activities to keep us all engaged, and I'm not going to fuck off for 6 weeks to go play Dragon Age and Avowed or something.
Right.
And I think like the other motivation may be, hey, we've always preached that we want you to play other games, and fall is a really busy time. There's a lot of games coming out this fall. Like, it's a slower fall than normal, and there's still a lot coming out.
Yeah.
This may be them trying to get a strategy in place before GTA 6.
Jeez, yeah.
Because that is the thing staring everybody in the face next year is GTA 6, which is presumably a September or October release.
Right.
And that's going to decimate things. So
that's going to be a hard pill to swallow when that game comes out.
Yeah. So, and I think they're already taking steps to circumvent that. But also, marathons being planned for next year. So, there's other various factors at play here, which leads us right into Ronnie's question. Do you guys think Destiny Frontiers will be like D1's Age of Triumph? That it's the in-between and the old console cutoff? Side story loose end tie-ups, as well as not many updates before the new whatever comes out. I'm going to be honest. I really am like buying into their whole thing of Destiny 2 is not going anywhere. I do think the 2 gets dropped. I'm going to be steadfast in maintaining that. I think the 2 gets dropped. And I think that announcement's coming this year.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the 10th anniversary update is that they're going to announce the 2 is going to be dropped. I do think that at some point the console support has to be cut off. Ronnie, I think you kind of nailed it here. I do think that'll probably be the last real update for PS4 and Xbox One. You have to draw the line somewhere. And if your player base hasn't updated by 2025 and 2026, and this is where I think the GTA 6 of it all comes in, those who haven't updated yet are going to update for there's 3 games people are updating for right now. College football 2025, which is a huge deal, whether this community like sports games or not. That is a massive fucking game.
Massive deal. I mean, that
is going that I would venture to say that's going to be the best selling game of the year.
Yeah. I would almost guarantee that that's the case.
Yes. I would. It is finishing bare minimum top 3. I won't guarantee it because Helldivers 2 has done like incredible numbers and Black Ops 6 is still to come, but you've got that. GTA 6 is next year. And I mean, at that point, it's a question of, like, what else does Sony put out that's going to be, exclusive? If they come out and say, like, hey, Ghost of Tsushima 2 is next summer and it's going to be PS5 only, that's going to be a big thing. That's a big game.
Yeah.
If Naughty Dog comes out and has a new game next year, which I don't think they will, but if they were to have one, that's a big game. Those are the types of exclusives that will get those who have held out for this long to do them. But I really do think it takes, like, Call of Duty would be the other one. Call of Duty came out and said, this is going to be our final game for PS4 and Xbox One. You have to upgrade by next year. There would be an influx of customers buying those consoles.
Yeah.
But it's because half the player base for those games has not moved on yet. Like a Forza Horizon being exclusive to next gen would move boxes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handful of games that can do it. And so I do think Frontiers is probably the cutoff. If you didn't do it before Final Shape, Frontiers would make sense. If that really isn't an expansion like we're theorizing, and they really are going to focus on Marathon, Marathon's already a next-gen only game. We keep saying next-gen. We're 4 years in. It's current-gen. It's a current-gen only game. It's going to have mainly a presence on PC, I think.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a really big PC game. I don't think it's going to really take off on... And it's Bungie, so it probably will. It'll have a big audience on console, don't get me wrong, but this is really geared towards the PC crowd, I think. Especially like those who played Tarkov and DMZ.
Yeah.
And I think that's the other motivating factor, more than, hey, we want to leave the old systems behind. It's we want Marathon to have its time in the sun.
Yeah.
Without a Destiny expansion breathing down it. So if you're going to give me another run of episodes next year fine. Maybe introduce like, some smaller locations, or use that. We theorized about this a few weeks ago. Use that as an opportunity to bring back some of the old destinations that were sunset. Use that as a major triumph. Bring back the Leviathan raids. Bring back Scourge of the Past. Give me Io and D2 Mars and Mercury and things like, give me those planets back. Spice them up however you want to. Give me the strikes. Give me the raids back, but you can still set some dungeons in there for story stuff. You can reprise the strikes. Like, there is a lot of quality of life stuff we can do during Frontiers.
Yeah.
Right. And I think Frontiers was planned because they weren't sure how the final shape was going to be received. I think it was received far and beyond what they had planned, even internally.
Yeah.
So now it's the question of, well, what do we do? We have 2 years now to work on whatever comes next. That's the exciting thing, I think, for the story and for the expansion team, is have 2 years to cook up the next big act. So along those lines, we did have a question. We had some questions tonight about that also. I want to find where it was. And it's really bothering me that I don't see it here. Give me one moment, everybody. Illustrated Deo wrote in, can Bungie bring about another time-manipulating, galaxy-destroying level threat into future D2 story expansions, or can that possibly wait to be the catalyst set forth in anticipation to get current and new players ready for the next title? I am going to, just kind of piggybacking on everything that Corey and I just said, I do think you can start setting this. I think that these episodes and whatever Frontiers is going to be setting the stage for what comes next.
Yep.
Because the Witness isn't the only galaxy destroying threat out there, right? Like, there's always going to be threats.
Right.
So, but take some time to organically build something up. If you don't have a big threat worth making an expansion around, don't do it. Like, we've talked about it in the past, like if Curse of Osiris and Warmind were made today, they would be seasons, or they episodes. Those would be episodes. House of Wolves and Dark Below would be episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I even look at something like Rise of Iron or Shadowkeep, and I look at the stories told, and those could conceivably be episodes.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing, but the bar has been raised so exponentially. Like, I look at the experiences we got with D2, and it's been so up and down, but there were more good than bad expansions, in my opinion. But they consistently want to be at the level of the Taken King, Forsaken, the Witch Queen, the Final Shape. Like, they want to be at those levels. If you're going to do that, you need more than the 12 months to cook. You need an 18 to 24 month dev cycle. Frontiers doesn't even have to be, a full year-long thing. That can be like a 2-episode initiative to get back to dropping your expansions in March if you want to. There's nothing that says you can't do that, and I think Into the Light was a massive hit that they weren't expecting. Give us more stuff like that. Like, I want to see more things like that. I'm expecting a 10th anniversary event to happen this year. Like, there's so many things you can do that I don't think we need to rush the next big arc.
Right.
And this is an MMO. Like, Dawn Trail in Final Fantasy 14 is kind of seen as like, oh, like the last thing was like kind of the end, and they're kind of in these in-between things right now, and it's a much more light-hearted DLC. Like, there's nothing wrong with things like that, right? You want to keep the player base engaged and coming back, and I think one of the best ways to do that is bring the old stuff back that we already paid for. Bring back the old stuff that we had fun with. Enough time has passed now that make it an optional download if you want to. Like, I have been a proponent of just every season when the update is pushed, it should just change out. You can play any of the strikes in regular difficulty, but just, change out the rotations and like, hey, we're bringing these old strikes back. They have to be installed. You have to have the strike pack installed or something.
Yeah.
But like, give me the option to optionally download the raids and the dungeons. Like, let me take out the stuff that isn't going to be featured for that act or something. Just, make it an optional download. I don't know. There's got to be easier ways than what I'm proposing, but something's got to change.
Yeah.
All right. Ariel Attic writes in, are the Grimoire anthologies considered story canon? Yes. That is the exact lore from the game.
Yep.
Or that have appeared in Bungie.net lore postings in the past. Those are exact Bungie things. It's curated by Bungie.
Yep.
So, yes, your next question, are they written by / with Bungie story writers? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, the early Grimoire book, the first one I believe was the first one, maybe two, were actually contracted out, and that was a really bad experience.
Yeah.
They fired some of the people involved and brought everything in house after that. And it was not. I want to be really clear. It was not the person who curated its fault.
Yeah.
It was not that person's fault. I want to be super clear on that. If you don't know the story, you can go seek it out. I don't want to misspeak and say that it was the wrong person. I believe I remember who it was, but it has been a long time since I read up on any of that, and I don't want to put words in people's mouths. So you can go seek that out if you want to. Just read a really interesting entry of Failsafe and Glint chatting about research and her development of the emotional betrayal as a result of us. It felt very foreshadowy for Act One themes. Yeah, they tend to when they release a Grimoire anthology is usually stuff that is happening that's relevant to that year or the coming year. We had one that was very largely about the Fallen. We had one that was about the Cabal. This I know the one you're talking about, Partners in the Light, was the one that was released last fall.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was all about, the allies that we made along the way and things like that. And I do think the part of that is foreshadowing, but it was really kind of to serve as part of the build up to the final shape. The one that we're getting this year, for instance, that just got announced on Tuesday is Penumbra. Penumbra, if you remember, that's kind of a fun nod back to the D2 Forsaken Pass. That's originally what Opulence was called, was Penumbra. Penumbra is described as investigating the mysteries surrounding the fusion of light and dark. So I expect a lot of Final Shape lore to be in there. The Unveiling book will probably be a very big part of it. So probably a lot of Savathun lore in there. There can be some really cool stuff in that book, I think.
Yeah.
The illustrations, I think they do contract out, but the actual lore pieces are curated by Bungie
Yeah.
and written by the story team, obviously.
Yeah. Which I think is how it should be done, right? I mean,
100%. 100%.
well,
Um, t- 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 t-
I love those
Jiggly
grimoire books.
Panda writes in and says, Josh, can I get your reaction to Klay Thompson joining the Mavs? I'm a Warriors fan, by the way. I love it. It's exactly what I wanted to see with this team. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been shipped off to the cold, white Detroit North. It's
Mm.
beautiful. We've got a guy
With
who's not afraid to shoot the fucking ball now.
with the Cavs old coach.
I like JB Bickerstaff,
I do
okay? I
too.
think that he got a very raw deal in
Of
Cleveland
course he did.
because
I'm
Dan Gilbert's an idiot.
yeah.
I'm actually very upset about. I think that Detroit actually got a great hire in him, and their new GM was plucked directly from the Pelicans organization. And he's got I want to say Dennis Lindsay, who used to be the GM for the Jazz, orchestrated the drafting of Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and then was the advisor to the Mavs last season. Actually, he was Nico Harrison's senior advisor and was part of the Kyrie re-signing, the signing of Derek Jones Jr., trading for PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, drafting Derek Lively. Like they have a good team up there, regardless of what I think about Lindsay as a person. They have a really good front office up there now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested about that. I love it for Dallas. Clay clearly looks like he wants to be here. The dude did his press conference and immediately went out and started getting up shots on the practice court. Um, he's going to be the king of Joe Pool Lake down here. He doesn't have anywhere else to take his boats. I did appreciate that someone asked if he's going to get a freshwater boat to take in the lakes out here. He said he's looking forward to eating a lot of barbecue and going to Cowboys and Rangers games. He's actually friends with Corey Seager on the Rangers, who was teammates with Klay Thompson's younger brother out on the Dodgers. So I thought that was a cool little trivia nugget. I didn't know that. Um, very very happy to get him though. We need another shooter. I know Clay's not what he used to be, but I'll take any guy who averaged 18 points a game last year on this
better,
team.
better than Tim Hardaway.
Dude, I mean, it had to have been a confidence thing, man. That dude, it was like he got his power sucked out of him from like fucking Space Jam. They needed Luca's secret stuff during the finals for him. It was bad. It was bad. He sold his soul for that 40 point. He dropped a 40 piece with him and Kyrie both dropped 42-point games in the same game against the Pelicans. And after that, Tim Hardaway couldn't score over like 10 points for the rest of the season. That's not even a joke.
I
Like he
know.
went from being the front runner for sixth man of the year to being like number 11 in our rotation against the Celtics.
Yeah.
So just absolutely abysmal. I'm thrilled that we turned him in a couple of seconds into Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, and Najee Marshall.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm here. Clay, I love Clay. I was kind of the perfect age to watch those Warriors titles. My childhood best friend is a diehard Warriors and 49ers fan, whereas I'm a diehard Mavs and Seahawks fan. So you can imagine how our friendship has gone for 25 years now. So this is adding another layer to that for us. I like it. It's going to be really weird seeing him not with Steph and Draymond, though. It feels wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, for everybody who hates me talking about sports, you've been spared for a while. I have yet to have been upset publicly on this show about the finals, but yeah, Klay Thompson, big W, love the guy, love his attitude. He said, Kyrie was a big part why he wanted to come here, and that just like is vindication of all the bullshit I've had to listen to for the last 18 months.
Yeah.
That Kyrie got him to come here over joining his dad in Los Angeles, which is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
His dad was very tilted about it publicly. For those who don't know, Klay Thompson's dad is the play-by-play radio announcer for the Lakers. So I found that to be very funny. He chose to come to Dallas instead, and he directly cited that he wanted to play with Luka and Kyrie. So he's like, yeah, I watched them play the Celtics, and I was like, yeah, I can fill a need on that team. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. Like that's going to be cones defensively out there, but I'm here for it. I'm ready.
Yeah.
I am ready. And, Corey got some good news of his own, re-signing Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. So it's good time. It's good times up there in the Clee.
Until the other two leave.
Well, I mean, Darius Garland needs to go. So trade him for a haul. Extort the Spurs for all they're worth.
Yeah. I don't want to see
Also, please just keep them in the East somewhere. Please don't send any more players to the West.
I just don't want to see Jarrett Allen go because he's been rumored to be traded too. I don't want to
Yeah, either him or Mobley needs to learn how to play the 4.
Well, Mobley is supposedly took some shooting lessons or whatever this summer, so because they want him to play the Kevin Love role at some point.
Man, I would really love to get him in the lab with oh my god, whoever the Lakers shooting coach that got fired recently. Was it fucking James Worthy, I think? Got let go by the Lakers. James Worthy got let go by the fucking Lakers. I'd love to see him work with him, or I know that, he works for the Mavs, so I'm a little biased, but work with Shamgod on his handling. Mobley could be an absolute monster.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen because we fucking got him, so back off.
Yeah.
That was a little aggressive. I'm sorry. I did watch Joel Embiid foul out in 12 minutes last night against Canada in a friendly after he punched Dwight Powell in the face. And it's like, dude, Dwight Powell is literally the most unaggressive player ever. Yeah. Like, what do you do? What are you doing to my Canadian prince? So I found that very funny, and everyone's like, oh, well, what's going to happen? When Embiid can't play in the next Olympics and this and that, who are they going to replace him with? I'm like, well, good news for you guys is because AD is probably going to be done by the next Olympics too. You still got Bam Adebayo, and then you got 2 young rookies named Chet Holmgren and Derek Lively II. Derek can come show off his Lego collection to everybody.
Yes.
Some great TikToks. I fucking love them. Mega Pop Tart writes in and says, hey guys, I was just wondering if y'all are still using normal subclasses regularly, or if in your opinion they just aren't any fun due to Prismatic. They're still good.
Yeah, I mean they're still very useful. I just
they're still very useful. I'm gonna say it personally. I feel a little more comfortable running Solar Hunter in this new raid because I want my healing nades.
Mm-hmm.
All my healing aids I've been running in the last encounter, and so I really like having that. So
yeah, that's the big thing, right? Is like there's no support in Prismatic like anywhere. Like there's no there's no support aspects anywhere. So like somebody's got to run those old subclasses anyway when you're doing in-game stuff. So
well, so I won't go that far because Speaker's Mask on Prismatic Warlock goes fucking hard.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
So that's doing a lot of healing, and I mean that's kind of the role of Prismatic Warlock.
Yeah,
is like that's where you're supposed to get your healing from. But like if you're a Titan, you got to kind of lean into the shielding aspect, and if you're Hunter, you got to lean into the melee heal builds, which I'm not a big fan of because of my personal play style. So I prefer to run my solar healing nades.
Yeah.
But I definitely still think they have uses because, I mean, if you're going to tell me Gathering Storm isn't still one of the best supers in the whole fucking game, you're nuts.
Right.
And I think so much of Prismatic depends on, have you unlocked all the fragments and have you gotten your ideal class item yet?
Right.
That is what so much of Prismatic comes down to for me. Like, Prismatic is still wild fun. I'm running it in most everything because I still run Tether or Golden Gun for just about everything. Just certain activities, certain master level activities, basically, or certain endgame activities, I just want my healing nade. I still enjoy really running my Arc build. I still really like Arc Hunter. I'm not a huge fan of Storm's Edge, except in PvP. It's really fun in PvP. I'm a fucking menace. But there are definitely still reasons to run these other builds for sure.
Yeah.
For Titans, I mean, like, if you're gonna tell me that that Strand Titan isn't suddenly, still one of the best tanks in the game, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and trading out the grappling hook for those, those grenades are just, ugh.
Well, you can get your grapple back. You've got Banner of War. Like, there are still so many things you can do in these other classes that you can't do in Prismatic yet. I think they have to walk a very delicate line with things like Banner of War, because otherwise you're going to make a class literally invincible. And we're already kind of seeing the effect of that with Prismatic Hunter, right? With the Swarm Grenades, the Smoke, and the Threaded Spectre combo. That's kind of turning into a bit of an issue. So I think it's a delicate walk, but no, Pop Tart. I still think there's very valid reasons to use the other classes. It's just we're all using Prismatic because it's the new hotness. Why wouldn't we use the new stuff?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and it'll be like that. We all ran Stasis for a while too. Strand, I would say I didn't run Strand nearly as much as everyone else did.
Yeah.
And I think Strand really found its footing once you got Banner of War, Threaded Spectre, and things like that out there, as well as the exotics that kind of helped with those also. So,
yeah.
Tiger Jesus writes in, do y'all think our Act 3 artifact perks will focus on trace rifles or give us broken prismatic perks? I would like prismatic perks, but I think they're gonna let prismatic just kind of be felt out for this whole episode. Maybe next season when we start seeing it, because prismatic is like really broken. Like, we're seeing like the first like balance passes come now. If anything, I actually could see them doing something with rocket sidearms as like a swan song before they have to nerf them a bit.
Yeah.
That would be my guess. I would love trace rifles, though. I fucking love trace rifles. My only problem with trace rifles is there's no trace rifle. Well, I was gonna say there's no trace rifle, and then I remembered I haven't taken off microsm since I got it. God, that kind of like puts a huge bullet in my argument. I'll be like, there's no fucking trace rifle right now. Like, well, we just got still hunt, so that kind of nerfs that argument. I could see auto rifles maybe getting one. I could see some focus there potentially. I would like for the Act 3 stuff to just be like wacky shit. Like, here, you get 6 weeks to just break the game, essentially.
Yeah.
I think that would be really fun. See things like particle deconstruction come back, for example. Or use that to bring back like some fan favorite perks. But I don't think it's going to be anything too big brain, personally.
Yeah.
Overload fusion maybe could be one. Some fun stuff you could do there. Cade writes in, is there an activity, raid, dungeon, day one, etc., that you haven't done in Destiny that you wish you did? Corey, I'll let you go first.
I mean, there's 2 raids I've never done.
Which is
I've never done
New Crota.
Well, I have tried New Crota. I haven't finished it.
Okay.
But
so
obviously
Salvation's Edge.
Yeah, Salvation. Well, I guess 3 then. Yeah, Salvation's Edge and Last Wish I've never done.
Really?
Yeah. I've watched a ton of it, and I've gone in there to go to the wish wall and try to get certain things, but
Yeah.
I've never done the full raid, and I've never done Crown of Sorrow either.
Ooh, I do love Crown of Sorrow.
So those are the things that I
That's
need
fair.
to make time to do at some point. It's a time issue. It's not a ability or issue. I mean, I'm got kids and job and all these other dumb responsibilities that adults have, and not enough time for Destiny, Josh.
The day one that I wish I could have gotten is Salvation's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
But I recognize the massive skill gap there between people who finished it and people who didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm going to choose something slightly more attainable, and it would be getting day one for Vow of the Disciple. Would have been the one I wish I could have done.
Yeah.
Salvation's Edge, funny enough, is the first raid since Garden that I have not done a weekend one clear on. I did not get my Salvation's Edge clear until about 9 days after release. 8-9 days after release. So I got it the second weekend. So and I've only done one full run of it. I've done a couple boss clears, but a couple of 4th and 5th encounter clears. I would like to do some more Salvation's Edge though, for sure. That might be something I focus on the rest of the summer, maybe on weekends, try and do some runs. If you had to pick a starting 5 from the Tower Casuals clan for a pickup basketball game, who would you pick, and why would Ronnie be the point guard?
Oh God.
So I'm going to be real. I mean, listen, we're making a basketball team. It's going to be the most unathletic basketball team of all time. Okay, but I feel if I'm going, I need someone really tall at center. I'm putting Nerd at center.
Is Nerd tall?
Yes.
How tall is Nerd?
That man's like 6'5".
Oh, we're the same size.
Well, Nerd's going in there, and I'm putting Corey at power forward.
That's fair.
I like having enforcers, so I feel like I need somebody who's like just going to be a dick to people out there. So I'm putting Saint at the 3.
This is a good roster, Josh.
It's a big roster.
Yeah.
I listen. I've watched the Mavs. They have size now. I have to lean towards it. Man, I don't know who I pick for my guards. I feel like I need somebody who I need like Hunter mains. I feel I need Hunter mains for my guards.
Yeah.
So I mean, the question is, so shooting guard. I'm gonna put Fox in at shooting guard.
See, I was gonna put Fox at point guard. He looks like he's scrappy and would drive and kick.
Fox doesn't get to be in charge. I'm sorry. Them's the rules.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a Cavs fan, and the point guard was never in charge for about, I don't know, 2 stints of 5 to 7 years, Josh. So,
well, I watched the Mavs with Luka, who's the best guard in the entire fucking league. So, I'm valuing the point guard a little bit more here.
It's fair.
I'm not gonna lie. If I ever found out that Luka played Destiny 2, he would automatically be the point guard here. Like, fuck y'all. He's just gonna beat the other team 1-on-5 constantly in a pickup game.
He's still playing on base Xbox One, Josh.
He's still playing Overwatch 2, ranked top 500 in the world, by the way. He won best favorite NBA athlete at the ESPYs tonight.
Jeez.
Man, I don't know who I put in at point guard because so I'm so fucking unathletic I can't do it, okay? Like my ankles will just break the second I try to move them.
Josh is the coach.
Yeah, I'm fucking Pat Riley over there, okay?
God. Wouldn't go that far.
I gotta no, listen, I get to be the GOAT, okay? Would you rather me be Phil Jackson and hold up my raid rings?
Yeah.
I'll do it. I'll fucking be Phil Jackson and put on my raid rings.
Yeah, why not?
All right. Awesome. I'm gonna come out wearing my Vault of Glass jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Ronnie gets to be point guard by default then.
Good job, Ronnie.
Listen, we need a warlock for our 6th man though, because they gotta be out there healing and picking up the slack when the Titans inevitably go down.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know we've got Nerd there at the center holding it all down. I feel like we need another warlock on this squad.
Joe this seems like a 6th man.
Joe's not in the clan. Joe doesn't count.
Oh, I was thinking just the Discord. You're right.
No. It's clan only. Clan only. Fuck y'all. Y'all can audition to be our Warlock 6th man. I'm angry. Knox writes in, if Destiny had a beach episode, what would it be like and who would be in it? Beach episode? Like, is this like an anime filler episode?
Yeah, is this like the last
I mean,
Final
the
Fantasy
obvious
VII trailer?
answer is that it's, Mara and Petra just chilling at the beach. That's the obvious answer here.
Yeah.
And it's going to go to some very R-rated territory if
Yeah.
the internet is anything to judge by it.
It's going to be very Tifa Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, is this also going to be shown to Italian Parliament on accident?
Yeah.
Jesus. The Guardian is just like, huh? What's happening? He's gonna very much be Cloud on the beach, not knowing what's happening with Tifa and Aerith.
Yeah. Is Zavala just gonna be wearing his Speedo, his red Speedo?
No, Zavala's wearing Barrett's captain's suit.
Oh.
He's wearing the fucking sailor outfit on the beach. Because we can't have anything nice.
Is his scarf gonna be Amanda's scarf?
Probably. Ooh. Yeah, that's a little hard. That's a little hard to stomach. Okay. Illustrated Dio has a couple other questions for us. Can our Guardian get their memory back now that we are both dark and light, or is that only exclusive to Crow and Elizabeth? So first off, Elsie is not a Guardian. That's why Elsie knows her past. She knows her past. Mm-hmm. She was an Exo. She was never a Guardian. Yeah. Anna is the one who went and found her past, her sister. And it's a big no-no for Guardians to do that. Mm-hmm. Because you never know what you were like in a past life, and that shouldn't influence who you are. Yeah. I'm a firm believer they'll never do this for the Guardian, because the whole point of the Guardian is to put yourself in their shoes. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, oh, really? Like, and also, like, then it would depend on, like, what race you were and everything else. And I don't like the idea of that. I hope we never go down that path. That's a shitty path. Yeah. The whole point is we were clearly trying to evacuate on one of the Exodus ships and died outside the wall. So, yeah. Man, did you do speech to text here? Because I am having a really hard time reading some of what you wrote in, Dio. A few things I want back are built into the next Bungie title are things like Big Team Battle, Combined Arms, Trophy Room, upgradable safe house like a Monster Hunter World, and key choice options tied to decision making to progress within the campaign, and faction houses and groups. What would you want in the next Bungie game, returning or new, to enrich your gaming experience? Well, certainly not decision making. Because I think in a game like like it works better in something like Final Fantasy, or in a more linear game like Monster Hunter World, I think. And something like Destiny, that could fuck you up like 3 years down the road. Yeah. And there's very clearly a set story and choices that are made throughout it. They tried this once with the Drifter stuff, and I didn't like being called a snitch for the next 5 years. So when I didn't even participate in said quest, and I was just automatically called a fucking snitch. So I think that the little dialogue choices or little dialogue variants they have is probably as close as you're going to get to that. Yeah. Like if you play an Awoken, the Awoken calling you brother or sister. If you played a hunter, Cade saying, I'm glad you didn't take the dare. You weaseled your way out of it. That's why you're my favorite. Things of that nature. There's a little comment they make during the campaign of the 2 best hunters are on the case, but if you're playing as a hunter, it's your 3 best hunters are on the case. Mm-hmm. There's little moments like that I think work really nicely. Mm-hmm. We've said this so many times. I want a trophy room. I want a Guardian apartment. I want capital ships. Yeah. I want all that. I want the helm to be customizable to be my space, but I accepted we're probably never getting that as long as we're tied to old consoles. Yeah. Maybe that can be part of like a Frontiers update, or post Frontiers we can finally get something like that. Something kind of like the camp on Europa would be cool. But if it never happens, I'm okay with it. I don't know. Yeah. Big team I don't think works in the world of Destiny. Combined Arms sounds fun for about 3 seconds, and then nobody would play it. Nobody liked playing it in D1 either. There was one map for Combined Arms that was good, and it was so good they put it into the Shadowkeep campaign.
Yeah.
But I personally just don't think that that mode would go over well in the current Destiny sandbox. I don't know. My answer to this probably would have been I wanted SWAT, but I have Mayhem, or I have Momentum Control. Excuse me.
Yeah. Man,
Give me Momentum Hardware, and I'll be all for it. That would be SWAT to the max, and I'd be happy for that. But I would prefer for them to keep innovating. I don't want to rely on past Bungie things.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
All right. And our final, not question, but kind of a question that we got written to us by a dealer a couple of weeks ago, asking Johnny to create his own exotic. I'm very glad that John was asked this because he went above and beyond on this. John wrote me this like 4-paragraph answer. If Chris Proctor asked me to be on the design team, this would be the exotic I would make. An ode to one of the dumbest titans who died drinking Vex milk, but whose light has protected us all the way from the Vault of Glass to the Witness's salvation. Of course, this is named after Kyber. So Kyber's Vindication. He would make it a heavy kinetic sword. Exotic trait. Final blows and damage dealt with this weapon build stacks of Vindication. Once full, Kyber's Vindication can be thrown, dealing heavy damage before returning to the user. Exotic perk, Fate Reforged. Activating your super while holding this weapon drains your super, changing Kyber's Vindication to the same damage type as your super, significantly increasing damage and applying elemental debuffs associated with your super type. While active, your Vindication meter will remain full, allowing you to repeatedly throw the sword. Catalyst, Light of the Aegis. I'm changing your wording here, John. You said Aegis Light. Light of the Aegis sounds cooler. Blocking will project a protective field of light around you and nearby allies. Blocking while Fate Reforged is active will provide weapons of light. This is one of the coolest fucking pitches I've ever seen for an exotic. I love this. And this, of course, was born out of John's love for Ergo Sum. We were joking about it a couple weeks ago. John is closing in on 10,000 kills, I believe, with his Ergo Sum, his main one. He may already be there, actually. I didn't read the full chat last night that we were in. But, yeah, now I'm really sad this isn't real, but this would almost assuredly break the entire game. This would be Still Hunt on crack. But this is a really fucking cool idea.
Yeah, this is cool.
This is an awesome pitch. I love this. And it being tied to one of the most important guardians of all time. Because I mean the Aegis shield just keeps popping up whenever we need it, you know. I love it. I love it so much. This is really cool.
Yeah. Cool. Nice.
All right, so there's your answer, dealer. I hope you're satisfied with it. John really went above and beyond to give you this. He sent this to me at like 2 a.m. And followed it up with, "I'm very sad this is not real now." So, all right, we've got a quick lore corner, and then we're gonna head on out of here, Corey.
Let's give it lore corner.
Lore corner. We haven't done one of these in a while. I've been promising some Micah 10 lore.
Yes.
This is the Embraced Identity sniper rifle.
Can I just say how cool Micah 10 is? Can I just comment on that real quick?
We're going to talk about Micah in just a second. I'm going to let you get all your thoughts about Micah out after we read this.
I mean, that's really all I wanted to say.
Oh, no. We're going to talk a little bit about Micah. A cutting laser bathes frost-caked steel in sparks of molten metal. The light burns orange, tracing an elliptical path until the section of bulkhead can be pushed away. It lands on the floor of the chamber with a resounding clang, dislodging icicles from the ceiling in a heavy indoor snowfall. Micah 10 slides to the still glowing opening, surveying the ice-encrusted facility beyond the breach. What she finds is a labyrinth of catwalks, debris-blocked corridors, and still-functioning machinery dating back to the age before the collapse. An hour into the guts of the European facility, Micah's ghost springs up over her shoulder in a crackle of light. The power conduits converge in a room just past here, she says, shining a light on a nearby door that glitters with hoarfrost. "Thank you, Myhalova." Myhalova? Micah gently knocks her helmet against her ghost. With a steady hand, she scrapes away the frost from the door, revealing a Braytech logo stenciled on its surface. She and Myhalova share a look of trepidation.
Then, with tremendous strength, Micah wrenches the frozen door open and steps into the data center. It takes hours to scan the racks for operational data and even longer to sort out corrupted files from salvageable ones. But it isn't salvage Micah is here for. An icy sheen is collected on both Micah and Myhalova in the time they've spent scanning the archive, processing thousands of files, searching for a single one without the benefit of a functioning index, a needle in a haystack, until the soft gasp that escapes from Micah tells her ghost the search is over. Micah immediately pulls a cable from the back of her neck, spooling it out to interface with the archive. She uploads the file she'd been searching for, the one she'd hoped for, the answer, her answer. Exomine Project. File. Index number corrupt. Age 17. Gender female. Height 160 centimeters. Weight 54 kilograms. Class A6 resident. Micah rests her hand on the flickering screen displaying the file. Partial record of a lifetime. Fragments of the past. Pieces of her. Pieces of identity. Of self. Answers to the dreams that have haunted her since Myhalova first woke her up. Permission be damned. It's nice to meet you, she whispers, beginning the download. Micah Abram. Micah 10's story is one of the most fascinating in Destiny, I think.
Yeah.
Micah was first introduced to us in the lore with the Your Friend Micah Abram lore book when you collect the penguin statues on Europa. Those are Micah's penguins. I keep trying to call them pelicans. Penguins. Um, And that was where we first started to piece together Micah Abram. When they mentioned that Micah 10 was coming into the game, in that cutscene after you escaped the witness during Iconoclasm, I screamed. I actually screamed out loud. I couldn't believe we were doing this. And then we get an entire quest line with Micah, and Micah's, narrating so much of what happens in the Pale Heart afterwards. It is strongly hinted that Micah is going to be the next speaker.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
I
at
was
this
a
point, it would surprise me if she wasn't at this
I
point.
was very set that Crow was going to be it, but Crow becoming the Hunter Vanguard after years of speculation is a much more fitting end. Micah is one of the very few Guardians that has had direct visions from the Traveler. The Traveler was granting Micah visions before she even became a Guardian, though. As a child, Micah was getting visions from the Traveler. And as we come to find out, you find it out through the lore books and then through the Lost Ghost quests. Micah as a child knew Cade because Micah's mother is, well, implied that she is related to Maya Sundaresh somehow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember if it's off the top of my head if Micah is related to Maya or was just the child of one of the main scientists. I believe it's the latter. But she came into contact with Cade because Cade was Maya's bodyguard.
Yeah.
And we noted at one point, and this was before they were Guardians, obviously, Cade drew his gun and may or may not have shot at Micah. Um, as you do the Lost Ghost quests, you find out so much about Micah and Cade's past. And you really hope that Micah got to have the conversation with Cade because it's pretty strongly implied that Cade's ace was actually Micah.
Mm-hmm.
The ace was not real, but Cade's memories of Micah are what manifested in his future selves as his memories of Ace. And that Cade's queen is Maya Sundaresh. I am really looking forward to them growing Micah as a character, and I really hope that Micah kind of takes center stage in the next DLC, the next big one. Because I think for right now, their job is patrolling the Pale Heart and obviously thwarting Savathun's schemes. I have a feeling that they will be a pretty big character come episode 3, Heresy, which is supposed to deal with Xivu Arath and Savathun. I have a feeling that Micah could be a big part of that, but Micah remembers every ghost that she's ever found. They are referenced as the Den Mother for ghosts, and there was some really cool dialogue. I believe it was in one of the Lost Sectors that I did, the one that you do with Lukatsu. I went back and did it yesterday, and in it, Micah remembers Lukatsu's ghost. And Lukazu says that the ghost remembers her too. It's angry. The ghost is angry, but, you know, and Micah, remembers hurting the lost ghosts and whatnot. I do think Micah's role to play in this story is pretty big, and it feels like they're kind of destined to take one of those like hunter roles now that Cade is gone for good. Kind of as like our connection to part of the Braytech storyline, but also to Cade and things like that. I really like the idea of this. I think it would have worked if she was the um, what you call it. If she had been the Hunter Vanguard, but I think being the next speaker would be really cool for it to be her.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Like there's a lot to process here. But I like it. I like it. I think that, her story is awesome. There's a lot more to come because Mara specifically recruits Micah to come help with the effort in the Pale Heart.
Right.
When she brings the allies through, she specifically brings Micah with her.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Like, you don't just introduce a character on the doorstep of the finale without them being pretty important.
Right.
And Bungie's already like sanctioned official cosplays of her and everything else. Like, we know that Micah was a member of the Six Coyotes. There's been bits and pieces in the lore, but this is like we've had a huge information dump.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
I love it. I love it. Micah is one of the most fascinating characters. I'm gonna find some more Micah lore, and we're gonna do it. I don't know if it'll be this next week since we're gonna have another big lore drop on Tuesday, but at some point this episode we're gonna talk more Micah lore.
Yeah,
because I actually need to go back and reread the Micah Abram lore book. And I want to read the Six Coyote. There's some lore about the Six Coyotes also that I want to go get to.
Yeah, Micah's cool. I have been really impressed on the way they've brought her in and made the story kind of revolve around Micah, and it's really nice. It's cool. It's very rare that, like, it's been so long since we've gotten like a really cool, fresh new character, right?
Yeah.
That, like, I mean, besides like villains and stuff, but like most of the NPCs we've known for a long time, right? And the ones that we've gotten, especially in Lightfall, like, they weren't great. So I can't remember Nemesis's name half the time. So the fact that Micah 10 is so memorable and important and just a really big part of the story is really, I'm excited to see what happens, honestly.
Yeah, there's some fascinating stuff. We get our first mention of Micah way back in way back in Forsaken with the Sixth Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to issue one correction. Micah is not Maya's child. She grew up with her fathers, who were scientists at the Braytech facility on Europa. But she was in close proximity to them. But yeah, some of the we're gonna read some of the letters, some of the visions that she had. But the most of the lore book for your friend Micah Abram are letters that Micah writes to the Traveler. So there is an absolutely fascinating set of 9 letters you can go read. At some point after the final letter, Micah becomes an exo, things like that. So,
yeah, super cool. Love it. I'm here for
love it.
Here for it, Josh.
All right, Corey, why don't you get us out of here?
Yeah, it's about that time, huh? I want to thank everybody for watching. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals. Josh, thank you for your time as well. Where can we find you?
Oh boy, Twitter at @just_Finn 2 N's.
Still there.
Still there, still holding out.
You can find me at I am Corey HD on social media. Join the Discord, follow us, all that stuff, all that good stuff. You know the drill. You know what to do. And thank everybody for watching and or listening. Until next time. We love you. Goodbye.